wholeness and balanced vibrations. We are here live on 9/9/18. 18 divided by 2 is still 9. So that's smooth. Oh man, good luck. So we're in Columbia, South Carolina, and we got some visitors that came to visit from the tribe, vibing high at top speeds, flying all throughout the East Coast, dropping jewels, picking up lessons as we go from the wisdom of the ancestors to nature to to now, the present. And I'm Curtis Aru. If you didn't know, now you do. And greatness attracts. So reflections that we brought into the city today that is phenomenal, flowing toroidally at top speeds. We got my brother Sage in the house, my brother Supreme G Gonzalo.
Supreme.
Let them introduce themselves, and we're gonna chop it up a bit today and just bring forth some light and vibrations to the people.
Thank you, Curtis. As Brother Curtis just said, my name is Sage, and it's a blessing. It's an honor to be here, just to share and connect. Wow, what a time, what a day, what a moment. If you don't know me by Sage, on the streets I also go by DeAndre McMillan. So there you go. You can find me anywhere. Right now we here, so let's get it.
Wholeness, giving thanks, gratitude, blessings, Brother G, primal sun, we rising, we lifted. As Brother Haru said, me and Brother Sage just been connecting with tribe all along the East Coast, and we just happened to divinely land here with no more fear. We left all that behind to be present, and man, I'm ready. Let's get into it.
Oh yeah.
Let's get it.
So we got the tree in here, the Trinity, the brothers in the house, we're creating that full circuit to keep flowing. And we're just gonna drop some jewels that we've uncovered in our journeys and travels lately. I know one that I hit with the recently has been consistency, something I wanted to work on. Consistency, and that's something you have to do daily. It's not something you can put on turn on the switch and just be on. You got to organically do what it takes to be done, that you said that you want to do. And we know whatever you focus on grows. So make sure you're doing that laser focus towards something that you want to see manifest. So what I've been doing lately, just start off as a seed, create new habits, is 100 push-ups and a jog every day. It might seem simple, but just that consistency doing it. 21 days to create a habit. That 22nd day is in there, it's locked. Yeah. So that's one of the newest things I've been doing, and actually shifting to the next one now. So creating something for me to be active or engage me, mind, body, and spirit. So physically working out, learning something new, engaging the brain, and spiritually meditating, eating the right foods, keeping my diet right. So just keep synchronizing that. So how do y'all feel about consistency? Like, what do y'all do?
Yeah, so well, just as was mentioned today, just being the 999, and we're working in threes here. So I think that in itself is the consistency of the universe per se. The 369, and it's like perpetual motion. So I mean, for me, even just coming here and feeling the vibration of consistency that you have, that Sage has, and that what comes together when we align like this, it's major for me, because I'm seeing it. And what's funny is that it's almost like, because consistency is like you said, it's something you do every day, and it's, for me, the major part was knowing that, okay, this actually doesn't like end. You know what I mean? Because it's like, man, I gotta get up every day and do this, but that's the reality. And it's like when one resists that, like oh, man, I'm actually I am definitely waking up tomorrow. Like I'm gonna I gotta live in this world tomorrow. And instead of wanting to look somewhere else or back away from that, it's really just like knowing that, yeah, I'm going into this. I'm going into this, and we gonna keep it riding, because one of the main things is that this moment will always take you to the next. So if you can follow that consistency, you'll just ride that throughout the universe. And it's almost like looking at like flat lands. It's like a huge plateau of land. Like you standing at one point, but you could just see all the way down to like throughout all of Mongolia. You know what I'm saying? Like just the whole land. So having that vision too, to see everything in its consistency. So
Word up, man.
powerful.
You said it wonderfully.
Yeah, beautiful. Like,
That was
like,
amazing. Just to add a little bit to that, I mean, even like you were saying, how like, you know, you have 21 days, and then from there you can start a new cycle of 21 days. And then by the end of a year, you've added on, you know, 9 to 15 different lifestyle adjustments that will allow you to be a whole new being in this reality. And that consistency is only a betterment to yourself and to those you serve, right? So I think that's what's been coming to me as well, just to better myself so I can better others and be a better service to others as well. And being around, you know, you of course, G, Tim, Naya,
Shout out.
Spencer, the tribe,
Yeah,
right?
the
The
tribe.
tribe, and then seeing that they all have their own practices, their own routines, their own habits that are so powerful. And you take a piece of that says, oh, this is what I could, you know, add to my life as well.
Right.
And then it just blossoms in those beautiful ways. So reflections are very powerful for that consistency. To be able to see, you know, where am I quote unquote lacking, even though we're, you know, full and complete within ourselves, but there are things that we can definitely implement into this reality, into this space. So yeah, for sure, man.
Right, exactly, bro. And how we connected for the viewers and the tribe too. You already know.
Oh yeah.
Shout
So,
out.
Exactly, holding this to the Spirit Tech Ambassador Tribe, Secret Energy, Brother Stefan Beaumont.
Yes.
Much love, holding this.
Bless.
So we all Spirit Tech ambassadors or Spirit Techs. You know, we offer solutions relating to mental, physical, and spiritual advancement. You know, so connecting and then diving deeply into ourselves, our university, our inner selves, to emerge and pull jewels that we can then vibe at top speeds, because we know we have a stronger understanding of self. Know thyself. And so that's what we've been doing. So, and that's how we connected. Those on the path to learn more about themselves, ourselves, and then we realized that, oh man, that you're a beautiful brother. You're a beautiful brother, and I can learn something from each and every one of you, like we can everyone.
Yeah.
And tell a little bit about your experience in the tribe or on this path. You know.
I can get it started, I guess, with the tribe, Spirit Tech Ambassador, man. I came in about a year and some change ago, about a year ago. I think y'all were both in it when I came in, so this is day one stuff right here, you know. And I've had the honor and the opportunity to meet so many of y'all on the path. Y'all to Electra, Key, you know, Ryan, Spencer, Stefan himself, many others, you know, many others. So it's really been a blessing. Like, and I haven't had one quote unquote again negative experience. It's been just totally fulfilling, activating, enhancing, enriching. Just it's full of life, because we're full of life and we're accountable to ourselves. We're doing the work on ourselves. And so when I come into your space, I know that I'm coming into someone's space who is actually aware, and someone's space who's actually here to connect in a way that's beyond what we've done in this matrix in the past. So it's always been a blessing every single time.
Yeah, for me, it's just it just showed me the abundance of life, because everyone just plays such a vital role, and just has a major role in all of this. And it's almost like, you know, we're here to, as we dive deeper into ourselves and we share this space, and, you know, and then we come out and play with each other. And I think that's something I've really discovered. Just being in Spirit Techs, being on the path, and just meeting in the flesh, and just meeting each other's reflection, because I think that's where we're moving into now. It's like a lot of us, you know, in the tribe have been, you know, on the path for years, months, you know, days, but looking into yourself, and then, you know, it's like filling your own cup, and then there comes a time where when we come together, it's like, now we share. And so I feel like that's what we're all moving into now, as a collective, because that's actually that's what connects us. Like, that's the connection right there. And so there's just this one quote that's just been coming along throughout this journey. Me and Sage just been you know, a week and some change now, you know, just moving around, meeting different tribes all over. We were in Georgia, South Carolina, coming from New York. And so establishing that connection allows you to flow. And so, you know, like Sage was saying, taking in what everybody has to offer and adding into your being, because it's like an extraction method. Just take what you need, and what serves you, and that's how we're of service to each other. So
indeed. So yeah, we're building as we can build ourselves from the inside. We begin to connect with other like-minded spirits, souls who's building on in their own spectrum and bringing their own piece to this grand puzzle, this grand empire that we're in. Hey man, it's like these future neighbors right here, man. Start off in the virtual as a thought that some phenomenal people. As a kid, go back, I used to think I used to see like stuff going on around the world like this, like it's bad things, horror, like terrorist attacks and like stuff that I couldn't fix as a child because I was always like solution oriented. I was like, I can't do nothing about it. Nobody's doing nothing for them. But I always come to this point. I was like, if there's like this great divine force of working in this way, I want to say evil or negative, it's always a balance somewhere. Like if the balance, if there's a super villain, like I'm watching cartoons, my cartoon theory, like if there's a super villain somewhere, there's a superhero somewhere working. It has to be. It got to be. I was like, I can't wait to meet these other people who's working on behalf, because when you watch, and digesting all this media of negativity and all this stuff.
Where they at though?
Where they at though? They ain't on the news, so they out here grinding and working. So I consider what we're doing and the tribe is doing, this is the balance that I've been waiting to see visual. I know it's been going on. We've been working on our own since but it hasn't been captured. But now we're here.
It's powerful. I mean, it comes back to that idea, which is now reality of, we're the ones that we've been waiting for, as they keep saying, and it's so true. Like it's so true.
I love that, bro.
Yeah.
Waiting on you, bro. We're waiting on you, bro.
Let's mobilize.
We're here.
Kind of adding a new lesson that I've received a lot.
Yeah, please, thank you.
I would say, so I left my job in June, right?
I see.
And the thing that's been coming to me constantly is trust. And I've heard it from other reflections as well about the idea of trust, how important that is in this process. So that goes with trust, confidence, doubt, these kind of words, right? That kind of encompass this whole situation. But when you trust the process that you're walking and move with that confidence, that you know what you're doing, because you are an infinite being who's beyond time. So it's already done, right?
Yeah.
But when you start doubting and saying, I don't know, maybe not, that whole thing, which I've done so much. I've done so much. Then you begin to alter your projection. You begin to alter the path that's set out for you, because exactly, you said it's already good.
Right.
And so that's so simple a lot of times. And I've been someone in my life where even with talking, I would doubt myself. Like having this conversation in this space, I wouldn't have been able to do it because I would be nervous. I would start stuttering, whatever, right? But trusting that who I am and where I'm at is divinely aligned and perfectly timed allows things to flow that much more naturally and organically, because we're here for a reason,
I say, brother, wholeness. Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah. So I can definitely say that the trust has gotten me to this point as well, because there's just certain things you don't know for the moment, because it's just everything's unfolding in real time, and it just takes your presence to be aware of that. But trusting is so hard because it is like the full possibility right in front of you, and so it's such a big magnitude. If one chooses to play like just this personality or this like little me, like that whole possibility of all existence will drown you out. And so the trust, even just because travel's been a big part. I mean, I think we all need to travel. I think everybody can relate into traveling, because it throws you into this arena of you literally don't know what's gonna happen next. And I mean that in the best way possible, because the mind would be like, oh, I'm not gonna know. Like, no, it's actually playful. So the trust leads to a certain playfulness. Because it's like, man, it's like, when we can go back when we were kids, it's like we were just playing all the time. We wasn't worried about getting in trouble or if you're gonna fall or if you're gonna get back up. It's just the trust and the playfulness go hand in hand, because when you can truly trust life and yourself, really is trusting yourself to just accept whatever comes. Like, everything's gonna serve you. Everything serves you. There's nothing that's not for you, and even if it isn't for you, you had to go through it to know that. So when one steps, you know, like full embodiment into their life, that simple knowing that, you know, you're just not gonna let yourself down.
Right.
There's no way. Like, why would you? Why,
Right.
we don't.
Right.
That's not what, you know. Like, you know, it's even hard to say. Like,
Right.
so knowing that you're not gonna let yourself down, and even the smallest little things, you know, just, you know, they're all paving the way. And I feel like that's what we mean when, you know, we speak on wholeness. Is wholeness is everything. So nothing gets left out. Yeah. It just has a place. So trusting that, you know, you're in the middle of it, so everything will just fall in place if you just stay in the middle, you know, stay balanced, stay centered.
Yeah.
So on that, man, what is balance? Like, that's not something, again, you hit a on switch and I'm balanced now. This happens like you balance now. When you walk out that door, something's gonna be right there to, you know, kind of tilt you. Is that you gotta keep that.
Exactly.
That goes back to what you're saying, like the consistency.
You're right. Right. Exactly. So it's like you came out, or like we started off today, we meditated together, you know, to ground ourselves in the moments, you know, and we just in sync now. We in sync now. Get our biorhythms going. So like for example, when you're traveling, balance before you left off, boom. The car start acting up. Oh shit! Oh, what's going on? Or accident? Like, oh man, what's happening? But it's like that can either be an extreme to take you off kilt, like, oh, what was me? Oh man.
And I just want to touch on that because this is so I feel it's important. It's important to, you know, like we're talking from experience here, right, so like let's just give it to you how it is. Like, so me and Brother Sage, you know, we stayed with Brother Haru for a night, and we were getting ready to go back to New York because we had a couple of other things en route. And you know, we're in South Carolina, and we start driving, and the car start acting up a little bit. You start feeling this little jerk, and we're like, that's a little baby jerk. Like, nah, let's take it all the way home. Like, this car, she gonna get us home. We got things to do, you know. And what's funny is that even just, you know, when we first linked with Brother Haru, one of the first things was like, yo, let's just turn these mics on. Like, let's get a little podcast going. That was thrown out there into the space. Right. And everybody's kind of feeling it out, you know. So we're traveling, you know, we're heading back up to New York, and you know, the transmission 4 hours we're in Virginia now. 4 hours, the transmission just fails. The car just stalls highway. Like, we on the shoulder, like we was riding on the shoulder, like, man, let's 20 miles per hour, let's try to make it to the gas station. Then
0.5 miles left.
Bro, we on the shoulder. Let's go. Bro, and we're just like, man, and you know, this whole time I'm not even questioning it. It's just like, okay, this is really happening, and I think you could say the same, like, man, this is just happening right now. Like, okay, like, let's see what happens. So we had to get towed out of the spot. We made it to the dealership. Car won't be ready for another 2 days because they maxed out. And so we're like, man, what are we gonna do? You know, do we just camp out in Virginia? We got some camping gear with us, you know, or are we gonna go back to Haru's? Like, you know, he's not too far, you know, and it was just simple, and you know, we're just like, man, all right, you know, why not? Like, why wouldn't we go back to Haru? You know, and then, you know, so we get back here, you know, we sleep the night, we make some food, you know, all that great stuff. We come to this space, and even I just woke up this morning like, okay, what do I gotta do today? Okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. And I'm sure the brothers here did their own thing. You know, what I got to get done today. Somehow, none of that got done yet. Like, we just haven't, like, like everything I wanted to do has not been even touched on yet. And we ended up here in this room with the mics on. Right here. And first time we use it. And then so when you want to put that in words, then you say trust. Because like we were just operating from a space. It's like, okay, it's just happening. Like, we're not even thinking. I didn't even think about the podcast when I wake up. This wasn't even on my list. Right. You know what I'm saying? Well, we got to this space, and you know, we just knew, like, there's a higher communication here, and so the trust is of that higher communication. Like, not necessarily even trusting your mind or the words you're thinking. It's like what you're not even aware of per se. That's, you know, like you said, when we meditate together. You know, we create this field of energy, this resonance. And so it's like, so now we travel to this building that we're in right now, and it's like, nobody even spoke a word. Like, you just came up, like, I just came up, and we just, so in words, it is definitely trust. And, you know, there has to be things that have to be shared. And so it's really happening to us. I think it's important, you know, because one of the main reasons, you know, per se, I haven't even gotten on a mic, is like, because there's a certain, space that it's just this genuine space that, like, yo, we're living this. And, And I think that's the most important thing, to know that, we're right here with you.
Real talk. And just to add on to that what you just said, man, that's the thing about those higher spaces that we're communicating on, is that it's oftentimes better than what the mind can even create. Like, it's a higher mind that we're working with. That's really, it's orchestrating the entire thing for us already. We just have to walk into it and walk with it and be present with it all. And like, even with, like you said earlier, like, the car has issues. It's kind of trying to see, are you going to be pulled down? Are you going to shift your internal space? And for example, in Philadelphia, I was there for 2 months with my good friend Mike, and I had many different tests that solidified this idea of trust within me without a shadow of a doubt. I could not doubt it anymore. Lost my wallet, lost my car keys, got locked out the house. It's all this
trying to shake you up,
stuff like that, right? But each and every single time, I got what I needed right when I needed it. Like when I was out the house, it was like 6 a.m. I'm outside the apartment for 2 hours, an hour and a half in the morning. But I was like, you know what? I can either be worried, get messed up, pissed off, whatever, or I can take this time to meditate, reflect on myself, to see where I'm at in my journey, write some things down, go for a walk. And then I got in the house literally 5 minutes before I said I need to get in the house. I same my wallet. I find it right when I need it. Right when I needed it, every single time. And that's how it works, because it's already done. And that in between time, from the projection to the actual manifestation, that's just time to play, to explore, to create new things, to be present with what's here, because you don't have to worry about it because it's already done. And here we are. So
here we are.
It's lit.
It's dope. Exactly. Then that's like, that test is like so prevalent. Like, it's like when you say, I'm ready for this, immediately when you say you ready for it, the universe be like, bam. Are you sure you're ready for it?
Yeah, exactly.
Right there.
Exactly.
Right there.
And you have the choice to choose. You can say, okay, I do really want this.
Exactly.
Or you can say, you know what, I'm going to go back to that past cycle, because
it's comfortable.
And that's the in-between space we were saying, like being in between the past and the future. If you're too far in the future, you're not present, so you can't be with the opportunities that's in front of you. And if you're too far in the past, you keep going back to old cycles.
Exactly.
So it's that balance of just being here with it, because this is what you need.
Exactly. In the moment.
Yeah, I really like what you said, from, the journey itself is from like projection to manifestation. Because there is a certain like buffer zone in between, and that's where it could get most chaotic, right? That's when you can just be easily swayed by just like the mind games, or this voice in your head that's just looking to, I wouldn't say steer you off course, but sometimes it has its own best interests. And so this is like where we get to a deeper level of saying, like, okay, so when we go inside, like, we actually see that there's different components to our being, and there's many different spaces. So like the mental space is one of deep understanding, because it is a part of you, and it's actually waiting for you to become aware of that, to use it to its full potential. But when it's now, if it's guiding your whole existence, then you're just playing in one little space, and that's just a piece of the whole. So it's about, and that's where it takes like deep presence, like in the moment, to just observe that. I think one of the main things that's even gotten me to this point is really just, hey, I just got to see what's going on. Like, let me not just directly engage at this moment, but sometimes things do just have to pass you. And that's what's interesting about the opportunities, because there was just a moment, again, bringing it back to like the real experience. There was a moment where I wasn't even gonna take this road trip, because I was just like, man, I don't know if I have enough money. Oh man, I don't know. I got some things to do home. Oh man, and what is that? That's the mind, that's the voice, that's and it wants to serve you. So it's gonna be like, hey, maybe you should think about this, maybe you should, okay, like, but wait, there's more. But wait, there's more. This is like that higher communication we're speaking of, that higher calling, that higher self, you can say. And that's what we're establishing a true connection with. And so to get to that point, you do have to break through some barriers that we've put on ourselves, that will allow us to continue on the journey of full expansion. And so man, I knew I was gonna talk about. Oh yeah, I was like I was gonna like I wasn't gonna come out to Georgia and do all that, you know, and I just said, man, like I had went into like a just a deep meditation to just see, and I was like, man, like these are great reasons, but it's just not enough. Like I can't just sit here and wonder what's gonna happen.
Right.
You know what? Because that's projecting into the future. Like, okay, maybe I'll stay back and I could get all this done. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's like, but that's not what's happening right now. Like your heart's asking you, like, hey, be here right now. Feel this moment right now, and trust this moment right now. And so, you know, that's just how we end up in these spaces.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's the beauty of the infinite. Like it doesn't end. You know, it's this current, like if they were like a stream, like just running. Choose to be up in it, ride the flow, go as it go, or stay out of it. But it's just a current that's just that you can tap into. You can just synchronize your heart with and just be in the now. That's always flowing. Or you can, what if it doesn't flow the way I need it to flow? What if, and then that can take you down a whole nother rabbit hole, you know, which is, you're supposed to be on it. Then if you decided to go there and learn stuff in it, to get back on the flow, get on that current. Oh, man, so, yeah, and it's amazing to connect with the brothers, man, with the tribe, man. It's beautiful. Love you, brothers.
Yeah, love.
So happy to be here. And like I said, the trusting in yourself and who you're connected with. You can't just, well, I mean, a lot of people can spend a night with everybody, you know, but you do it, who you resonate with, like, you know. And like we've connected, we've broke bread together, ate, herbal sacrifice. We had a little stretching with another Supreme brother who came through, him and his queen, to get us the right brother named Shimmy and sister named Jiff, who's phenomenal. Is there another word for yogi?
I guess that works.
Yeah, phenomenal yogis that got us right, and that we got you'll be introduced to them soon as well on a future podcast. What's some projections that you want to see manifest?
It's a new moon too, so it's some time for that.
Wow.
It's time for that, exactly.
I know. Powerful question.
Exactly.
Oh man, I would say just to get it started. One thing that I've been really come ready. Let's go.
Let's go.
Go, man.
One thing that I've been really sitting with is just mobilization. The idea of being available to those who need the help. I found myself in many spaces, especially as I was really going through a lot of my healing of trying to escape or trying to just, what's the best place for me to be in, right? But I found myself in a space now to where I can be anywhere, right? You can go to any place and you still hold your own frequency. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so with that state of being, it doesn't so much matter where you are, but where you're called, right? Like, you know, look at the Jesuses and all those, you know, those icons in our history, and they were there for the people. That's why that's what they talked about, because they helped so many individuals who needed it the most. So, and like you said, with the superheroes, you know, where they at, you know.
Exactly, where they at? We are here.
I hit me. I was like, you know what? As a little kid, I'm like, all we hear about is all these bad conspiracies, and I said it in Atlanta, like, if they can create something so powerful and so masterful in a bad way, then we can create something even more powerful in a good way. So let's be there for the people. Let's be there for those who have been seeking some kind of relief or some kind of anything to give them hope.
Right, exactly. Something I thought of. I think I was talking to Brother Mark. We was saying how it was flowing too, a freestyle.
Yeah, for sure.
So we was
shout
saying
out to
how
the brother.
Shout out to Brother Mark. The inner trainer.
Yes.
Powerful being.
Muscle mentality.
Muscle mentality. Exactly. We was talking about how we shine. Like wherever you shine, wherever you are, it's like a ping, like you sending out, because you're generating this field of energy, and we connect virtually so many places from all over the globe, like basically throughout the tribe.
Yes.
And I was thinking, as we say, this is California, this is Kenya, this is Mongolia. This is all these places that
Yeah,
people
yeah.
in tribe are just resonating, doing great things. These superheroes, we're shining. I'm like, what if we pan out? And when you pan out from let's say from somewhere in the atmosphere, and you're looking down, you can see us, our light, different places. You'll realize that we the constellations, like we the stars.
Wow.
That we direct from there.
That's amazing.
And then when we bring our stars even closer together,
Right. That just makes you think of like just like so I'm from New York, so born and raised, and so like it just makes me think of like there's like for example just like the towers, right, like that used to be there, and then so they have the 9/11 memorial, which is coming up probably in a few days, but they shoot these lights where they used to be that just like just shoot up like as high as you can see, and that's also how we exist when we come into that awakening of like whoa, like it's a full body activation where it's physical, spiritual, mental. That field that we start to generate, it is a light out into the cosmos. It's like a lighthouse in the ocean, right? And I've had certain experiences like that. Going into like different spaces where I actually, before I even physically met some of the tribe. So shout out to BT Supreme. He actually like met me in these certain spaces as a lighthouse. Like, yo, I'm here. Like, welcome. You know what I'm saying? Before I even physically met him, but I saw just his entire light body just projecting out, and I was like, whoa, like, man, welcome home. Like, it's like, hey, like we're here for you. And so just that experience of seeing that, it's not even just like I'm here for you and only, like I'm here for all. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you're saying, like to give somebody hope. It's not even necessarily like, all right, here, sit down. Here's a bag of hope. You know what I'm saying? It's like when we arrive into these spaces as our full being, it can be felt, it can be seen, and someone's just gonna be like, whoa, like what have they done? What are they doing? And then that actually starts the self-inquiry. So I think that's one of the most powerful things you could do, and it could be also very. I know for myself at times there could be a resistance to even do that, to enter spaces as like your full being. You'd be like, whoa, because it could be for someone who's not ready to receive. It can be quite intimidating. Right. And I've been on the other side of that. You're just like, whoa, like you just don't know how to receive it. You don't know how to engage with it, and then a more distant, fearful kind of energy approaches the room. So that goes into the next kind of lesson, is being fearless. Being fearless, and I feel that emanating from you as well. Absolutely. Like Brother Haru, I know you're doing amazing work down here, and you engage with the people. It's fearlessly, like just not worried about how they're gonna react per se, because you hold your space. And so maybe you can even talk about some of the things going on down here in South Carolina.
Oh yeah, South Carolina SC, man. So again, as we talk about with spirit texts, and our beings are definitely solution orientated. And we see an issue, we automatically on the other spectrum look for the solution to it. So in South Carolina right now, in the North Maine community, in the Eau Claire community off of North Maine, we have a food desert. Like, it's no grocery store for like a 6-mile radius. So a lot of people in the community, they walk. So I've been here for about 2 years now, and I've connected with the community, and it's like, I see old elders walking with bags from a couple miles away, and they can only carry but so much, but I know they need more.
And it's hot outside too.
And it's hot outside. I see them walking with an umbrella. Like, oh man, so we need food here. How to get food here, and how can we do it? So originally started plans for a North Maine marketplace and bringing the food here. So we're making partnerships with the community here. So long story short, on that trajectory, we have a North Maine marketplace right here in Columbia that you guys were here for the first day, man. That means phenomenal. That's longevity for me, like really, because it's like once it's been here, you guys' energy help manifest that first day, set that precedence. You will always have space held in the creation of the marketplace. And another thing we did, I have going on right now, we have a comic book. All the heroes are from North Maine, called the Source Seeds, and we've been building on that. And I actually telling stories on different platforms. We have a comic book, a traditional comic book, as is ready for for the average comic book lover. We have beautiful art in there for you that you can use to. It's a mindful comic, so everything in the comic is made to send you on a different aspect of self. So every hero has a stone, has a frequency, has an instrument, something that that when you look up and say, oh, this hero is named Gonzalo, and his stone is peridot. What is a peridot? Look it up, and that's going to tend them on another reflection of self. And the other platform we're creating on is the reality. We added they get their powers from Orgone pyramids, and I actually made an Orgone pyramid in Hyatt Park. As you guys see.
Yes. Wow, what a beautiful view that is! Just a public park with just a beautiful Orgone pyramid that it's just generating. It's just holding space, and created by the space holder himself. So. It's just powerful because it's new projections, and it just takes the beginning. It takes you to just engage with the reality fully. I feel like no longer neglecting that relationship with this reality, like this immediate reality, is something that's definitely coming up.
And that one of the things I thought about, how can I think Seven actually dropped the jewel. He was like, how can we create an invisible? How can you do that? And I was like, how can I create an invisible? What can I do in my community? I was like, I put that in there. It looks nice, but it's generating something that you can't even fathom right now. But so when you feel it, that's all I gotta do. Like so.
Yes, feeling in intentionality.
Exactly.
We do it.
Exactly, and that was it. Like what can I do here that can help the people in the invisible? So that was when you got so many frequencies bombarding us with the cell phone towers and all this other stuff going on, and you got a light, like we said, we here to share light. Nobody knows who my name is not on it, but you feel it. So that's the light I want to get that I know we possess, and I just be holding space, going to say this, being there and generating. Somebody's gonna feel something. It's part of your light. So all they need is a spark. That's all a candle needs, spark to go.
Yeah. And that even starts just with the food and all that, because there's that it helps you eating the right food, eating life food. It helps bring your sensitivity levels. It helps rise that, so you can actually feel that energy.
Yes.
So there's many layers that come with sensitivity.
So we even got to share some of our uniqueness. As we're doing it now, actually. Brother Sage got a phenomenal channel on YouTube and a website where he does podcasts. Tell them what you doing.
I mean, right now my current mediums are primarily YouTube, Instagram, and my website. So on Instagram, I can be found at Spiritual Trek. That's SPIRITUALTREK, Spiritual Trek. And my YouTube is Spirit Trek. It's SPIRITREK. Same from my website, spirittrek.com. So it's all related in name and title. So, and I'm just trying to share as much as I can to just really help you reflect on your inner being, to help you have tangible ways of approaching life that are enriching to yourself and will allow you to not only empower yourself but not harm others as well, and to open your heart into others. Compassion, embodying that idea of unconditional love, which is very real, very true. Balance, being present, inner peace. These kind of things I focus on because we have enough conspiracy, we have enough, fear mongering, we have enough money laundering in the spiritual community. So it's time to just, help us get back to ourselves.
Exactly, the balance, bro. And again on the love and sharing our uniqueness. My brother Gonzalo is the man with the hands. Sharing his energy as I'll let you tell them more about it. He even got a chance to massage another tribe member.
The lovely
Danielle, called her Danny Cosmos.
Hey, Danny Cosmos.
And got to do that here, express that. How was that, traveling and doing your thing?
Yeah, that's it just opened me up even more because it allowed me to really step into, who I am, like that opportunity.
Yeah.
For sure, there was just even a funny moment where Sage was like, yo, after I came out the session, he's like, yo, you just stepped into a whole nother space, because that really, it really allowed me step up and engage with the reality. Like, how can what can I do? How can I serve you? Is the question. How can I serve you? So something that's just been really big for me, even as a child, I used to just like, I had my grandmother. She was like really overweight, like diabetes, like oxygen tank. I had to see her go through these things. I was just like, man, like, what can I do? Like, what can I really do? Because the person's so deep in that deep in the suffering. It's like, man, you tell them, eat, like, drink a smoothie. They don't even want to do, like, they pretty much helpless at that point, and it's tough, especially when it's a family member and and you're a child. So I used to massage her feet. I used to just go in there and just give her foot massages. She used 2 and 3 in the morning, just like yelling, like getting these cramps, and my room would be all the way in the opposite side of the house, and I used to hear her yelling, and I'm like, little kid in me is like, man, just I don't want to, I don't want to do that, but I knew I just had this higher calling, like, yo, get up and go over there. So just massage the thigh out, massage the cramps out, and just like Mom Dukes, like, she was just always prone to like swelling at the feet and things like that. So as I was younger, I used to just physically, because there's something I really love about just this touch, the realm. So the realm I'm in is healing touch, because it's so necessary. Like, it's a proven fact that if a baby, after it has been given birth to, after it comes out of the womb, if it's not touched within a certain period of time, it will literally die.
Oh man,
like, that's a fact.
Wow.
So that tells you right there, and that was one of the main things for me. Like, yo, you have to engage with this reality, like, because I'm very, like, spiritually inclined, but it's definitely time to ground that. And so the way I'm doing that, you can find me on Instagram at primal.sun. That's SUN, primal.sun. And just a little bit about that is, this primal nature, it serves as the foundation of all existence. So, and something like that is you want to bring it back to the body, the senses, the touch, the taste, all that you enjoy. It actually comes through these channels. So yeah, healing touch. Shout out to Danielle for trusting and allowing me to move energies out of uncomfortable spaces, because everything's connected. So even physically, you can really, what a knot is in the body. It's just energy that just has gotten stuck at one point, that it didn't have no longer the right conditions to flow. And so there's many ways to come at the body, but I do like a more gentle, natural approach where it's just it's not overbearing.
It's respectful.
It's respectful. It's comfortable. And it's of a loving nature. It's I grew up in a house of women all my life. So I was very just exposed to feminine energy. Like, I'm also a lefty, so that connects me to the feminine side of my brain. I use that side more. And so there's just this gentle softness approach, and I think that's what a lot of the world needs.
Right.
There's been a lot of hard on, get in there,
right?
Get it done, which is a necessary component.
Right.
But we're talking about balance, right?
Right.
We're talking about consistency in that sense. So as much as you're going head on first, you really want to do to take the time to relax and treat yourself. And like I said, we can do a lot ourselves, but I mean, why not have, man, because it runs, so there's so many levels to it. It's like because there's such an intimacy there, and it's like, we like as a whole, like, we have we look at intimacy just in the bedroom, like as just having sex or just all that, kissing and the hugging and all that, and that's definitely it, but there's this is so intimate right now.
Right.
This is like we literally have opened ourselves to each other, where we can give and receive through one another. So that's very intimate, because as you exist, when you now share space with other beings, it's not just you. And that's one of the main things. It's like, so it's not just me here.
Right.
So let me get beyond my own shit, so we can really like go places.
Down. Let's connect.
Right. Let me really go places.
Like you said, with the trust, like, again, from my perspective, having the trust in you to do this for this is my love, my honey apple berry, my snuggle fruit.
Yeah, that's powerful.
So,
and I could feel that, even when you like, she wasn't even present in the space, and you already had asked me, how can you, what can you do? And that's like you said, that's your sugar honey apple, like, and there's a certain connection there, like you just don't trust, the love of your life with anyone.
Right. Exactly.
And so, and that's something I had to see within myself, and that's what something me and Brother Sage were talking about. It's like, yo, these opportunities don't just present themselves. Like it's almost like a test. Like, are you gonna do it? Are you gonna take it? Are you really gonna run with this?
Right.
Or not?
Right.
Like it's just sometimes it's so it's like, yo, I need you now. Like, where are you? Are you there or not?
Right. You gonna show up?
And so that level of intimacy, because that's what I love about like body work and massage, or even just relationships, because that's like, relationships are life. Life and relationships. So there's a giving and receiving always. And so even just grounding it back down to like body work and massage, like someone gives, someone receives, but if that person's not open to receive, is useless.
And you told me, you said something else when you was doing we learned with like mastery, when you master something, it connects you to the source of all. Like, so when you were saying how I consider you mastering of the touch of the body. So exactly that pivoted, or the node that led me to the relationships with each other. Like when you finish that relationship with yourself, you tap into it leads you to elsewhere. It goes, once you did that check mark on yourself, I need a consistency. Knock out consistency. Once consistency is learned, go on to my next lesson. Like when you were saying with the body, like if it's a knot here, that sometimes leads you, once that knot is clear, or the pain is coming from somewhere else, you might find it's coming from the shoulder. Okay, that shoulder is going to lead me to someplace else. And then you going through the body. Like, tell us about those processes.
Yeah, so, there's, so the way we live our lives, like sometimes we're just not aware, not conscious. So in the body, there's actually a lot that can be stored there. It's a powerhouse. And so sometimes a lot of experiences that you might have not been okay with or didn't fully accept, instead of fully just experiences are like food itself, or like it's like life's food, it's soul food. So when you experience something, you take it into your being, and then just like food, it goes through the process. It has to, your body extracts the nutrients it needs, and then releases what's not needed, and that comes out as waste. And so same thing with these experiences. Now, if we choose not to fully accept an experience because we want to judge it as good or bad, then that resonance will actually stay in the body. So, something very common is the shoulders, the hips, the jaw is a big one for me. Like my jaw has been one of the biggest, obstacles I've had to deal with, in this body. And also I know this very much because there's been much of my life where I've been uncomfortable in my body. And it's because you're literally not paying attention to it. Like it's crazy. So in the body, many things can be stored, and the whole body is a whole science. Like it's like a whole.
That's a spaceship.
I like to say, like, life is simple, but the body, there is a certain complexity to it. Like it does have many components, and so the body's always communicating. And if we're not aware of it, you'll just numb out that pain. And so now you have like pain in the shoulder, and then as I'm massaging out that shoulder, it then shoots, because there's a nervous system, so it then shoots a signal down to your wrist. And then your wrist is like all cramped up after that. And it's because now that what has left the shoulder, it automatically, like, it will try to find somewhere else to go. And that's why it's a process, because it's moment to moment, it's part to part, it's so it just, there's a certain tuning into the energy and following that energy to fully experience it and then release it. So that's kind of what I do, as like when I do body work and massages, as one that holds space in that sense. I will guide that energy out of your body, and allow it to just especially if it's the energy that most of the time it's not an energy that's serving you, it's actually weighing you down and putting you more dense into your body, holding space for that release and allowing it to go where it needs to. This is the thing, it's not like, okay, let me drill this shoulder until it's fucking numb. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my French. It's like, okay, the shoulder's clear. Like, Then okay, now this is clear. It's a full. It's a holistic. You know, it's like when you're getting into the body, like it's physically a knot, but it's also it's energetic knot. It's emotional. So it's opening up the perception. I might need some water soon, but it's like it's opening up the perception to work on multiple levels in the know. In that one moment, you're working on multiple levels of existence, emotionally, physically. So it's not just the body; it starts at the body, and this is why primal, like the foundation, is the body. We all got one. We only got one.
A question.
Yeah, for sure.
I have because I'm working on engaging the community, connecting. So we have, like for example, when we first heard Savon, like I've known about 5 years now, right? It's like this is just a whole new world that he dropped on me. That is a whole reality that he was that exists, and like I might catch every 14th word. You know, he was saying, like, okay, I know the fuck, I know that. Okay, I got
words
that.
just flying
over
over
you.
you,
Like,
like
he said, what? Of the fractals of the harmonics. Okay. And then just started writing stuff down and slowly digesting the stuff over the years as we grown. But having something right there. One of the pivotal things that connected me to his message with the stuff he was sharing was how can I relate to myself? Because I ain't really connected. He said he's from Detroit. I was like, oh shit, Detroit, okay. Well, why he's Detroit? He done been through, and then he listened to some of the experiences as a kid. So he told a little bit more about himself, and I can see my resonance with him from different aspects. So I want to drop some jewels about stuff that we've experienced personally, be it in high school, college. You know, so people can see like we just regular people. That's what we just regular people. We go through the same thing. We're not these, you know, holier than thou, you know, this distant people. We are them. We are you. Who's watching? We are you. You know, we're the same. So going through multiple things. So anybody drop some jewels on previous experiences that you overcome. You know, how people used to look at you and who you were then and who you are now. Like, what conversations would you have with yourself now? Like,
that's a great question.
That's a great question, man.
Yeah.
I'm talking, so I'll keep talking. You know. So, just a quick overview of how I've experienced or how I've seen myself in this journey. Definitely a lone wolf when it comes to the spiritual journey. Until more recent times, of course. A lot of my process has been by myself, whether it be growing up as a kid, you know, or in college during my spiritual awakening. It's by myself. I had no one to talk to about it. So I really was in my dorm room, just doing my stuff. And I would go out party the next night.
Right.
Know? So it's like,
turn up.
It was a very interesting time. So that was the baseline. I realized from an early age, I was meant to be in all spaces, but I wasn't meant to really fit in to those spaces because they weren't for me to be in. I was meant to create new spaces. And which is what's happening right now in this moment. So, you know, an outcast who kind of always was able to kind of just adjust myself to be around people and to be in different environments that felt off, but I learned the part. I played the part very well, especially in college, like I said, during my spiritual awakening process. I wasn't shocked into it. It was more so like a frustration with what I was given with like Christianity and with the fear of it all and conviction. I was just tired, and I was judging myself so much because of that. So when I let that go, I entered my spiritual process, and a lot of it was interesting because, like I said, I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You know, I would be in my room working on my inner peace, working on happiness, stress release. You know, this. I approach it from a non-spiritual lifestyle perspective. I approach it from what do I need. I want to be happier. Okay, how do I be happier? Okay, perspective. Boom. You know, how do I find more peace? Let go. Don't attach to everything. Don't let things impact me so heavily. You know, now that's how I had my spiritual process go. And then I found people like Alan Watts, Krishnamurti, Sadhguru, Osho, the list goes on, Sevan, so many more that really allowed me to dive deeper into the knowledge of it all. It wasn't even until after I graduated, maybe a couple of years ago, where I started looking into things like crystals and energy healing and chakras. I think that came later for me. But while I was going through that process, I was, like I said, turned up. I was in the frat.
Right.
I was doing my thing, quote unquote, sinning.
Right, from that perspective.
Exactly, but it's all perspective, right? Like you said, and the growth that came from those years was so valuable. But one thing I want to say, this on my journey, was the idea of those who feel like they're alone, or introverted, or can't express themselves, if they're not being heard. It all comes to you when you're ready. You're not alone, because there are people all around the world who are experiencing what you're experiencing right now, who are connected to you in many ways. And I see you, I feel you. I would tell my younger self right now, this is the way to wait, because you're gonna see that it's gonna be bigger than you could even imagine. You know, and even right now, what's coming is like I can't even fathom.
Right.
It's amazing.
Right.
It's really incredible. So just be there for yourself. Forgive yourself for those things that you feel that you might have harmed yourself with. Forgive others in your life that you feel are harming you, because really you can resolve everything within yourself right now if you choose to enter it from a heart space, a compassion space, a forgiveness space, and the love will heal all things. Literally, it's not a cliche.
Right.
It's real.
Yeah. My bro, I say, brother. What you think, bro?
Yeah. What was? I guess.
So
what was the question? Yeah.
So when you, if you can send a message to talk to yourself 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever point that you would choose, what would you say to you? You know, in those times that you felt all by yourself.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah, please.
I just want to add one more piece of what I would say to myself, because it's really important. It's probably the most important thing.
Right, we're time traveling right now.
And it still exactly, literally. And it still keeps coming to me. That's how I know I need to say it now, because I still keep getting that reflection.
Yeah,
and I said it earlier, trust yourself. Trust yourself. Because as a little kid, I knew I had a lot within me. And people keep saying, like, you know, I would get prophets coming to me in the church. People saying, hey, like, this young man's going to be really successful one day. He's going to do X, Y, and Z, or something about him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's nice.
Right,
I would take that, you know, but like, I would always doubt still. I would be afraid to express myself. I would be afraid to move. Even now, even with Brother Shimmy, he was saying, like, for yoga, like, you know, I have the gift. I have the ability to do it. A lot of things. I just have to trust the movement and move with that confidence. And even to this day, that's one thing that I keep telling myself: be confident in my beingness. Yeah.
As a kid, the same thing. It's just like elders, and he's gonna be such a great, phenomenal kid. He's gonna be this, that, and the third. Like, oh, that's awesome. But it wasn't until older, when it's another elder. I forgot the sister who exactly it was, but I just remember her words. Cause I used to walk with like a slouch in my head. Cause my girl had a grandma's house. She had like, the house was about 5'8" maybe. That's the roof. So we used to always had, as I got tall, as a teenager, I used to have my head down and like walk like this most of the time. And my granddad did some similar things. So I got outside and I was walking. I think it was at church. I was walking around or leaving someplace else. And she was like, "Oh, son, you're handsome. You know, put your head up, put your shoulders back, walk. You're confident. You're beautiful." And I was like, I didn't know I was doing that. And I started doing it. She was like, "Walk," and she's like, "Yeah, there you go." And I was like, I felt it was so amazing. I guess the spine is aligned, my head is up, and then I didn't realize until like college when I was taking a vocal methods class that I had my head up too high. It's like, my head is up, it's balanced. No, put your head down. I was like, it's down. So I had to like go back and readjust, but I got so much of a boost of confidence from the elder that told me that
young Leo shining.
right, shining, exactly. So like, what would you tell yourself, my brother?
Yeah, something you know, very simple. I was just telling myself, hey man, be patient. And patience, you know. It's you know, like we touched on, it really is all perception. Like, you tell somebody be patient, like you tell somebody, hey, relax, they'll just start wilding on you. Right. Don't give me time to relax, like, you know. So there's even to that as a certain art. Like, I just think when I mean patience, it's like the birth of a child. Like the way, like, see, the woman's not rushing that process. But she knows it's coming. Like, she knows, like, so there's a certain, like, patience there that knowing, you know, I just remember when I first started yoga, a few years ago. I had a best friend. She went away from college. She went away to college. She came back and she's like, "Hey, I think you might like this." And you know, start stretching, back pain start going away. And there's just a saying, you know, they just like all is coming. That's just like a very familiar mantra in that kind of yoga space. All is coming, and I always resisted it too, because it's like I know all is actually like here right now, you know, but that it just goes deeper than that, and like all is coming, meaning that there is like a natural order to existence, and we see that in nature, and you know, and we see that in the woman when she's giving birth. So knowing that, man, like, you know, when you like, even just in that, like when you're creating a life, how can you even rush that? Like, you know, like you know, like you said, like greatness can't be rushed. You can't. So that's what I mean by patience. Not like sit there, you know, because we're used, like, in the way we've been brought up, the way I've been brought up. It's like when you get yelled at, they're like, "Hey, just like shut up, sit there," you know. And so you take like patience, like just sit there, do nothing. But it's just more like a steady consistency with the patience, like it's
the trust. They're saying trust the process.
So yeah, man, like that patience, like knowing that, you know, that's one of the main things, like from projection to manifestation. There's a certain just patience, knowing that you're already on route. So like that's another. I tell myself like, yo, you're on the way, man. Like you're on the way. Because so one thing. Okay, so one experience I'll share was, you know, I was recently, a few months ago, I was in Sedona, Arizona. So it's a powerful place.
Yeah.
Like, with the red rocks. Like it's actually Mars. Like it's literally Mars. Like we think of Mars like. I mean, it might be, but that's not my, like, I was on Mars, like, the red rocks, like, all those things were probably shot there on some real shit. But, you know, so I had gotten this trip, it was a journey to Sedona. I was connected to some other beautiful beings, Evelyn Guerra, a beautiful, powerful woman in New York, and she gave me the opportunity where I didn't have the full funds to go on the trip. She's like, yo, let's work something out. Let's do a work exchange. So I'm like, you know, last minute, I'm like, I'm not going. She's like, yo, let's do this. Okay, so I ended up going, right? So it was interesting because I kind of left, not on the wrong foot, but not necessarily like with grounded intentions, because I was kind of in between of like, my mind's like, you know, you didn't even really pay for this trip. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else here paid, blah, 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 all these things. So when I'm in my mind, in certain experiences, we're at the vortex, we're on a hike, we're all together, everybody's fully there. My mind's like, yeah, but, you know, you still didn't really pay for this, you know? And so now in my mind, I'm not there with everybody. Right? And so there was certain scattered moments in the journey that happened, that I encountered that. And so fast forward at the end of the journey, I'm coming back, I'm on the plane. And I'm actually with Brother Mark at this point. We actually went together. And now I'm like in a reflective state. So I'm reflecting on the journey. But I'm looking through the journey, right, in my consciousness. And I see some major like gap holes, and I'm like, man, what is this, right? So now I'm talking to myself, and I'm like, man, what is this? It's like, yo, you weren't there, bro.
You weren't there.
Like, where were you? You weren't there. And so then it's like, well, you see these moments, you know, like literally, like so people will reach the end of the life, right? And you know, the life flashes before their eyes, you know, and it really happens that fast. Like these moments are literally just. They're going by. You can't stop them. What you can do is be there for them. In the flow. And so it was like, yo, it hit my heart, bro. It made me I wanted to cry, because it was like, yo, you see, man, like you just missed it. You weren't there, bro. So tying that back into, you know, even just patience, it's the ability to be there, not trying to be somewhere else. Because as the process is unraveling, you know, you might get caught up so much in the future that you just, you know, you're trying to be there, but it's like, but yo, your woman, like your children, they're right here with you. So it's like a certain patience. I know I'm going there, but I'm also I'm right here too. I'm not trying to go anywhere else. I know I will get there, but I'm not fully focused on that, because there's so much happening in front of me. That was just the main lesson. Like, yo, just be here. Just that's it. Like, because if not, you know, you'll look back in your life and you'll have those same big gaps. Like, shit, where was I? You was in your mind. You was in your headspace. You was in the past.
Bro.
And
you speaking, bro. You speaking.
That's real.
Speaking.
No,
real.
it was so, man, that thing just broke my heart, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, I'll never get this opportunity again. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You're like, yo, you will actually never get this opportunity again,
these
bro.
People, these moments.
And you done chose not to be there, you fool. Straight up. It was like, you fool. You better take this lesson and integrate it now. And since then, bro, it's like, I can't be nowhere else. It's like, one of the like something that just really resonated with me is like, yo, the goal is in the future. I am here.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, that's this, man. Last one, boom. Third thing I would tell myself: the goal is in the future. I am here. This moment will always take you to the next. So just whatever it is, even if it's, you know, happy, sad, whatever, it's teaching you patience, because it's teaching you to be with the moment. So, you know, stay with the moment for sure.
Yeah, man. Well said. Beautiful.
Giving thanks.
Imagine, like, right now, imagine, like, you sending that back to yourself. Like a t-shirt with that said. It said, like with a beautiful girl with a t-shirt that says that. Like, I would look at that in college.
Just be here.
Just be here.
Right on the chest.
Just be here.
Be like, oh, I'm here. Like, I'm here with you, girl.
Like, right. Send an email, put it in a tattoo, put it in a song that, you know, somebody ride by in the car bumping, like, with a message that we just, you know, said what we told ourselves. So imagine that getting back to you somehow, some way. So imagine that.
It will.
Cause that really hit hard, especially in the moment. How do you tell somebody to be in the now? And how do you? I know meditation definitely helps with that, clearing the mind, clearing the monkey mind from just frying off. You know, cause that I've had memories and I'm like, damn, so like a blank. I don't remember what happened exactly. Because I wasn't there. I was thinking about in the future, you know, if I then the whole thing. So just be in the now. How do you be in the now? How do you silence?
Real quick, I mean, I'll keep it simple with this. Like I think Savon said this many times. Just to do, to you know, to move, to do something. Except when you're in the mind, you're not oftentimes you're not doing anything. You're just sitting there traveling to all these spaces that are, you know, hopefully one day you'll get there, but maybe it's even for you. Who knows, exactly. Right? So like you said, let's see. Oh, pyramid. Let's see what this is. You know, engage with their reality. Engage with like the kids, like Shimmy and Jeff's daughter.
Yeah.
You know, she's all over the place, looking at everything. Piano, boom, boom. Oh, look at this. Oh, boom, boom. She's engaging with it so well that there's no need to be anywhere else because she's so curious.
Yeah, that's the delight of a child. So yeah, never lose that childlike. I think, like I said, exploring. You know, being curious. You know, trying stuff out on your adventures right now. You're on an adventure.
Yes.
On an adventure. Yeah.
And that's something you said too just the other night. You're like, I want to be just like that, maybe with a little more. What'd you say?
Wisdom.
Like, a little more, like a little more discipline or something. You said like that, just running around free. You know, and then it was just funny because you would see Shimmy, he'd be like, all right, like come here, like, stop, take a moment, you know, just like ground that, like kind of discipline that, because it's necessary, you know. It's like the playfulness and the freedom and all that, you know, it consistency is a balance. So you know, there are times where you do have to just like, okay, let me chill for a moment, like what just happened, you know what I'm saying? So it's an interesting dynamic for sure.
I know, definitely. I hit like it's a reset thing where mine starts to like go, like close my eyes. Take a breath.
Yeah, that's good.
Reset. Okay, I'm here now. I'll be back in a moment.
One breath, man. It's a
one breath. You said something about that. Somebody says something.
One tribe, one heart, one breath.
Exactly.
Yeah, like that.
That's the completion,
one
right?
Tribe, one heart, one breath. That's right. That's it.
Wow, powerful. Yeah, I think the breathing is the most direct path to that. You know, just really taking that deep breath. And the sound will be the second. Because I remember we were stretching, doing a little yoga thing, and you know, when you get in a stretch, you know sometimes it's really tight, and they tell you to breathe, and you having a hard time breathing. Okay, so just make a sound, like even when you exhale, because sound is vibration, so it'll with your intention, it'll reach that tension in your body. And that sound will just shake it up.
And even like when you make a sound, it makes me remember to breathe. Okay, relax. Okay, you know, like when it's happening, it's definitely a huge component.
So breath and sound, they just Vital.
Right, so we're gonna start wrapping up the podcast, man. 'Cause we got more coming. This ain't the only
at
one.
111. Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Hey, that's of course.
It's lined up always.
Yeah, always, man. Stay in the balance.
Yo,
Wholeness and
Mr.
balance.
Haru, where can they find you at?
Oh yeah, man.
Please,
You can
brother.
find me at curtis.haru on Instagram. The website is being built now. Should be out very soon. OneTribe.io. Right now, when you type in OneTribe.io, it'll take you straight to our Spirit Tech page. We have a number over 153 amazing products for the body to get you advanced to the next level. Exactly. You can also find our clothing line, OneTribe. You can check us out. We're gonna have some beautiful photo shoot that came out by the brothers here, man.
Oh, yeah.
Honored me with some amazing shots of the clothing and fabrics that we have. So that'll probably be popping up right now. Let's drop the pictures right there.
Yes. What if we wrap up with like a little whistle song or something?
Hey, okay.
And that's
What's
just
up?
like a little.
Hey, you want to do it?
Frequency.
But y'all could join me for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm coming.
And there.
You know.
This and balance vibrations. Let's say that together, man.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's take a breath.
Breath.
Alright, inhale. Wholeness and balance vibrations.
Oh yeah.
Stay lifted.
Give it thanks.
Top speed.
Top speed.